Okay, hello, we are standing here at Yangmeju Xiedia, and today we will talk about the relation of the hutongs and the courtyard spaces where people lived during the dynasties. In Robert Swallow's book, Sidelights on Peking Life, from 1927, he's saying something very interesting. On page 20, he's saying that almost everything that the Chinese householder needs may be bought at his door. Robert Swallow is obviously not talking about the Kuaidi couriers of today. Instead, he's talking about the immense amount of street vendors you had in Beijing during the dynasties and still in the Republican era. As you can see, in a space like this one, you actually not really have windows to the street. So the street vendors would shout out or use instruments to tell the people inside the courtyard what they were selling. And if you wanted to purchase something, the gate would open and people would come out and let the street vendors into the courtyard. This was especially convenient for the women because during the dynasties, the women, they were living deep inside of the courtyards. It was actually not very often that you would see women walk in a hutong like this one. And if you follow me, you can see here how deep a space a courtyard was. In here, there is a much more sort of silent, almost ambient vibe if we compare it with the streets outside. And these two places were very different. Streets were dusty and a place where women would seldom come. But as we get into the courtyard here, you will maybe also notice that it is not much courtyard that is left. And that is because if you go a little bit deeper in, then you can see that after the communists came in, then a lot of these courtyards would become mixed courtyards where multiple families would now live. And if you count the meters here, you can see how many families you now have inside one courtyard space where you originally only had one family. But as just mentioned, the women would originally live in the very back of the space, like you can see here. A whole courtyard structure would pretty much be a little cosmos in itself. Here in the back, you would have the women. In the biggest house, you would have the master of the house. Then you would have the sons in the sides, according to when they were born and where they were in the family hierarchy. And closest to the gate, you would have the servants. Robert Swallow is describing it like even in 1927, then a courtyard space would almost be a self-sustained little cosmos or little sort of universe in itself. And it was very common that a family living inside a closed space like this one would not necessarily know the family living just next to them. The glue that connected the family with the outside world were in many ways the servants that would know what took place in and around the courtyards. But the family itself was pretty much living inside of this space and not necessarily connecting with the neighbors outside.